A lot of people get tied up on the interest rate instead of the payment. I always tell my clients, don't get caught up on what the rates are. Get caught up on what your payment will be if you use all of the money that you've been approved for. And if you're comfortable with the payment, not that you don't worry about the interest rate, but you can always refinance later when the rates drop, as long as you're comfortable with the payment that you're in.
Credit score is very important. And also credit history is very important. If you have at least a 580, we can get something started.
And I think what people need to understand is not just your credit. Like Myron said, it's your credit history, it's your debt to income ratio. That's a factor. It's also about saving money. I can't tell you how many people come to the table with no money down and expect to purchase the house. We do have loans that you can do that, but you still have closing costs, you still have inspections, you have appraisals. There's other things that have to be paid for. So I think a lot of times when people are ready to buy a home, the only thing that they focus on is getting that credit score up. But it's also about how much debt do you have, your income, and other factors too.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, William Robinson, coming at you live today from the studios of TLC, Talk, Love, and Communication. I believe that all problems, circumstances, and situations can be resolved through the proper channels of love and communication. Today we have two special guests, Miss Myron Raymond Scott and Turkessa Wilkerson. They're going to teach us about real estate and financial stability in our community. We only got one life to live, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a whole lot easier with love and communication. Okay, we're going to give my special guest a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ladies, how y'all doing today? I'm so happy to have y'all guys here. How was y'all travels?
Travels was well, thank you.
Travels was. What about you, Miss Wilkerson?
It was good.
That's great. That's great. So, can you tell my audience a little bit about yourself, Miss Raymond?
Yes, I can, Mr. Robinson. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm Myron Scott. I'm with OBA Realty and Mortgage Group, powered by the Linden Village.
Okay, you also have multiple companies, correct, ma'am?
We do have multiple companies. The other company we try not to promote as well because we do have a waiting list. But Omega Behavior Analysis, we work with children with varying disabilities and providing behavior supports in the home, school, and the community environments.
Okay, what about you, Ms. Wilkerson?
My name is Turkessa Wilkerson. I've been in real estate for 5 years. I am a real estate agent with Fontana Realty.
Oh, okay. So how many years have you been in the real for 5 years, ma'am? So what inspired you to become a realtor, ma'am?
Pretty much to help people. Financial stability and having home ownership is important. And so many people want to achieve it, just don't know the steps to doing it. So that made me want to do it.
Okay, so I would assume you're a homeowner yourself, correct, ma'am?
I am.
Did you become a homeowner before or after you became a realtor?
I became a homeowner when I was 20 years old, so before I was a realtor.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was the mindset going forward? You know, when you look back and now that you're a realtor, what are the mistakes that you made when you was 20 years old compared to right now today, ma'am?
Actually, when I was 20, everything was done for me. My lender was picked for me. All I had to do was pick a lot and pick a house. So it was a simple process. What I do regret now is that they don't have those same simple processes anymore. There's so much more to buying a home than what I went through.
And Miss Raymond, what are those steps that were so simple then that may be a little more harder to come by now, ma'am?
Well, a lot of things have changed, especially in the mortgage market since the crash of 2008. Right. So there are a lot more strategic procedures and just a lot more in-depth things that has to be looked through as far as financials, credit. Back then, they were just giving out mortgages. That's the crash of the market.
And why is that? Why was the change? I mean, as far as Does it help the people, the average person, or does it work against them?
Now it better helps the average person now maintain keeping their home, because before the market crash, mortgages was just given out whether you can afford it or not. Mm-hmm. That's why the market crashed and everybody was going into foreclosure. So now, looking through your financials, making sure your credit is up to par, your credit history, and all the other stuff that goes into it, we are securing that, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, you can afford this home. Now, do you choose to pay for it is on you, right? But after going through the proper paperwork, you can afford this home.
Okay, and that's important. You know, it's one thing to get a home, but it's another thing to keep the home. And can one of you guys explain to me the process of refinancing your home, and how does that work?
So the process of refinancing is simple. It is you already have a mortgage, and you want to finance for, maybe you're trying to finance to get a lower interest rate, or you want to do a refinance because you need a roof or your AC broke, or you just need extra money to do something else, or life event happen, because we all know life will life, right? Mm-hmm. So the process of that is it's similar to buying a home as well. We still need your financials. Your credit score still has to be up to par. You could not have been late no more than within the 12 months of your current mortgage. Mm-hmm. So all those play a part in getting refinanced as well.
Miss Wilkerson, can you explain to my audience what is equity? What is the equity? How do you accumulate equity within your home, ma'am?
So when you purchase your house has a certain value, but of course the perks of buying a house is that your house appreciates in value. So as the market changes and shifts, you might buy your house for one price, but it's worth another price. So what it's worth compared to what you paid for, that in the middle is considered your equity.
Mm-hmm. And when you sell your home, the market fluctuates, correct? Mm-hmm. How can you as an owner tell when is the right time to sell?
I think that's when you have to get a real estate agent. There is really no right time. You know, when you're selling your house, it's just, correct me if I'm wrong, Myron, it's just you ready for a new life change, a new venture. So I don't think there's really a wrong or right time to sell your house. I forgot what the question was now.
Yeah, so I agree with Keisha. There's really no right or wrong time, because everybody's situation varies. Right. However, if I would say have to pick a quote unquote wrong time, I guess it basically to be what you owe compared to what the market was giving you. So if your mortgage is, you still owe $200,000, but you can only sell your house for $220 because of the current market, then I will advise you to hold on to it and maybe rent it out or Airbnb it while you have to move to Georgia to your new job or whatever the case may be until it gets better for you.
Good point.
I noticed you said the Airbnb. That's a very popular thing now. Explain to my audience, for those who do not know how that process is that a profitable business? Is that wise, being a homeowner?
Well, it's always, yes, it brings in money. It's extra income. And the process is, we do have, if you currently own your own home and already have the mortgage, on it already, then you can do as you pretty much chooses with your home. But if you need to purchase to do an Airbnb, that's a different process.
So you have to let your realtor know and the bank know that, hey, I'm buying this for the purpose of an Airbnb. And what's the difference? What's the qualification difference?
Because now you're going to get a business loan.
Wow.
Yes.
And your down payments are going to be more.
And down payments are more because you're no longer doing a conventional loan like a FHA or so you're doing a business. So
from the financial side, there are more than one type of loan that you get from the bank when you're buying a home.
Oh, yes.
Is that correct? Can you explain to me the difference, ma'am?
Oh, it's a variety of loans we have out there. It all depends on your situation and what you're needing. So if you're just looking for a regular family home, you, your wife, your kid, you just need a house, then that's a regular single family sale. So that may be a FHA or a conventional loan depending on your credit. However, if you need to purchase a business, like a group home or Airbnb and something, then those are more non-QM loans, which are non-conforming loans. And they do require more down, and they also require higher credit scores to qualify.
It's when you mention group home. Okay, so let's say you own the home, and I have a group home. Or I'm the person who owns the group home, and I want to rent from you. Mm-hmm. Is it as simple as me just paying regular rent to you? How does that work?
Yes, it is as simple because I own my home. I could do what I want with it. We'll just come up with the lease and how much you're to pay a month. So it is just that simple. Right. Yes.
Okay, and you just now mentioned about the loans and the interest rate. Okay, what's a good interest rate going forward for a first-time homeowner, ma'am?
Oh, we cannot give out interest rates solely because that depends on, one, the market, and two, your credit, and it's a whole bunch of factors go in. Interest rates. Like both of us can put a loan in at the same time. Her rate may be one thing and my rate may be other. It won't be drastically different, but credit score, credit history, and of course the market plays a factor on interest rates.
I think a lot of people get tied up on the interest rate instead of the payment. Mm-hmm. I always tell my clients, don't get caught up on what the rates are. Get caught up on what your payment will be if you use all of the money that you've been approved for. And if you're comfortable with the payment, not that you don't worry about the interest rate, but you can always refinance later when the rates drop, as long as you're comfortable with the payment that you're in at that current rate. So I do always recommend that they shop around. Don't just think one lender and that's it. Shop around, figure out what everybody has to offer, and then make a just educated decision based off of that.
And how important is credit score when you're buying a home?
Credit score is very important, and also credit history is very important. We have loans. We need at least a 580. We do have programs that finance below 580, but it's more money down. So it's like up to 10% down if you're below 580. So if you have at least a 580, we can get something started.
And I think what people need to understand is not just your credit. Like Myron said, it's your credit history. It's your debt to income ratio. That's a factor. It's also about saving money. I can't tell you how many people come to the table with no money down and expect to purchase the house. We do have loans that you can do that, but you still have closing costs. You still have inspections. You have appraisals. There's other things that have to be paid for. So I think a lot of times when people are ready to buy a home, the only thing that they focus on is getting that credit score up. But it's also about how much debt do you have, your income, and other factors too.
So is it better to have money, save money, or the land already purchased?
For land purchasing, that's only if you're interested in buying a home, building a home. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you definitely need money saved up to go towards down payment and closing costs.
And so if you're building a home, you have to do a perm loan if you're building on your own land. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people will buy, like I guess they call them spec homes, where the builder already has the house and the land and they own it, and then they sell it to you outright. But if you have a piece of land that you actually want to build on, you have to do a special type of loan. And I do think your credit score has to be very good for that too. But Myron could probably
the one-time construction loan, yes.
And who all applies to this one-time construction loan? Is that, what's the qualifications?
If someone who wants to build their home, but the qualifications, you still have to have your credit, your debt to income, your money saved. So all the factors are still there. It's just a different type of a loan.
Right. Do you guys know anything about the zoning as far as, you can build homes here, mobile homes there, and so forth?
Yes, we do. So when someone wants to build on a property, as this is more on the real estate side, we do our research to make sure it is zoned R1, not R4, 3, whatever, to make sure it is a buildable spot for a single family home. Or if they want, a business want to do a duplex, we got to make sure it's zoned properly as well before we make that sale.
That's something I always wonder, like as far as the duplexes. So you have to have a certain zoning to build a duplex?
Yes.
And that is zone what,
I don't know. Don't correct me. I want to say zone R3. But
why wouldn't that be considered a family home? I mean,
It could be.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But the county don't zone it as, you know, family, because actually it's called multi-family, not single family. Because you could put two families in it because it's two separate.
It's one structure,
but two separate. Yes.
You know, and what are the single most important qualities that it takes to be a successful realtor, Miss Wilkerson?
For me, I'm just open with my clients. I try to be very thorough and explain everything in detail so that they have the knowledge that they need to make, you know, a good decision. You have to be able to negotiate. You have to know the market. So when you take them to areas, you already have to have done your research on what are the houses selling for, and, you know, things like that, pretty much.
Okay, and in any type of service, hospitality is important.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the main thing, you know, when you take me through the process, do you do background on your potential customer? You know what I mean? I know you studied the house, the home that you're selling, but what about the background that you do on your potential customer? Is that important? So I would imagine it's more comfortable if they come into the situation and you could tell them, oh, how's such and such, you know, let them know, and that make them feel more comfortable and relaxed.
Right. Yeah, usually I have a consultation with all my clients, and we kind of go over, if they already have a pre-approval, I explain what their pre-approval is about. So if they have a certain type of loan, it might be a USDA, I'll explain to them that you only can live in certain areas. We kind of go over their price point. We go over what their payment's going to be at that price point to be sure they're comfortable with us looking at homes in that price range. We go over what they are looking for in the house, you know, what their must-haves are, the areas they want to be in. Mm-hmm. We just pretty much, my whole thing is I prefer you to come pre-qualified or pre-approved, I should say. That way you already know where you stand. But if you don't come pre-approved, then I recommend people like Myron and the Linden Tree and other companies for them to research and, you know, get pre-approved before we start the process.
So, Miss Myron, at one point in time, you were a realtor yourself, correct?
Yes, I'm still a realtor. I have my own brokerage, OBA Realty Mortgage Group.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. Your husband also does realtor also, correct?
He does. So we partner together.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Teamwork make the dream work.
Teamwork make the dream work.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, how important is it to you, both of you guys, to separate business and family when it comes to how do you make the switch? Meaning, how do you not bring it home? You know what I mean? And being a woman of married women, you know, sometimes it can be a balance. You know, the days, and I think sometimes men do not take in consideration the workforce that women have today. You know, back in the days, you know, granddaddy went to work, grandma stayed home, everything was, but you know, we have a tendency to want to come home and kick our feet back, and we still want the same privilege when you work the same hours. Mm-hmm. So how important is it to balance that, ma'am?
Well, fortunately, God is good. Okay. So fortunately, my husband and I, we're both business minded, so we are like-minded individuals. Mm-hmm. Therefore, the balance in work comes very easy for us because we're all about go as entrepreneurs. So, however, I can't imagine if it was, you know, different, it'd be very difficult if you don't have that like-minded person. Like when you're an entrepreneur and you're going out there hustling every day, and if you have a partner that's on a regular 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, it is tension because they don't understand what you're going through out here trying to make this dream come true. So I am very fortunate and blessed that my other half and, you know, got the mindset and we running together.
Well, what do you do in times when, let's say, it's business season for you, so to speak? You know, you in a big, you know, position right now as far as a go. You're in a big, you know, and he's kind of he just made his big decision. So it's like, and I would imagine he can understand because he just went through it. And it's important to be like-minded. And when you're married, that's important. You know, the two become one flesh. Yeah. You know, and be understanding. So how is that balance for you, Miss Wilkerson?
I do bring my work home, you know, because like you said, when you're an entrepreneur and you're in real estate, you work 24/7. You know, you don't have a clock out time. I get calls, I get emails. I'm going home researching things. And we have a mutual respect for each other. We both are grinding. We're both trying to accomplish things. So we set out time for each other, but we never take it personal when we have to do work.
Right, and that's important.
Yeah.
That's very important. Even for me with this podcast, you know, sometimes I tell my friend I speak to, I say, man, I wish I could work. You know, I'm disabled now. You know, I had surgery on my spine. My audience know this story. And I say, I wish I could work because it's easier. Mm-hmm. It's easy to go to work and come home because it never stops. Mm-hmm. I wake up, soon as I open my eyes, I'm trying to download something. I'm trying to schedule a podcast. I'm editing. I'm trying to learn, trying to get better in my every thought. You know what I mean? And it's hard, you know, but hey, in order to get to the top, you got to climb.
That's right.
The climb is real. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Okay, so we have a list of first-time homeowners. We got some tips for first-time homeowners. Okay, we're going to start with you, Miss Johnson. You want us to give us, Miss Wilkerson, you want to give us the first tip, ma'am?
Well, there's a combination of things, but I think the first thing is just to be prepared. To know what your credit score is, to have money saved, and like I said earlier, to shop around for a lender. Okay,
and when we talk about saving, the most important thing is having your down payment, your closing costs, and insurance and taxes. So when you can cover that, that makes the process more easy for you, correct?
Correct. Typically, they will roll your insurance and taxes into your payment. So it's your escrow technically. So it becomes a part of your payment.
Okay. Okay, Miss Raymond. The second tip that we have is improve on the credit score. You want to elaborate on that, ma'am?
Yeah, so when you just wake up and say, you know what, I'm so ready to buy a home, these are the things you need to keep in mind. As Ms. Wilkerson said, yes, your credit score is very important. So that's number one. Then your debt to income ratio. You add up all your debt that you have. Debt does not include cell phone bill or light bill. It includes all things related to credit, car payments, student loans, bank loans, credit cards. You add all those up, and not the balances, you guys, but the monthly payments. So you add up your monthly payments, you divide that by your monthly income. That will get you your DTI. We need that to be under 29%, 30% at all times.
And you know, throughout my research, you know, as far as improving the credit score, that's to stay current on your bills, meaning pay your bills on time. Okay, no major purchases. You can't expect to, like you mentioned, the debt to income. You can't go buy a car and then say, I'm going to go buy a home, because now you got a $20,000 loan that you have to pay prior to purchasing your home. And it is important to have our priorities in line. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please get your priorities in line. Know what comes first. You rather ride in a brand new car or have a brand new home first. You may get one after the other, but it's more important to secure your home, your family for generations, buying and purchasing homes, than to worry about who's going to see you at the red light in the fancy car.
Absolutely. Do not buy no furniture, no cars.
Nothing.
When you start this loan process, do not make any major purchases.
Okay, that's right. And they say don't cancel any credit cards. Tell me, why is it important not to cancel credit cards, ma'am?
Yes, so that is a great point. Thank you for asking that. Listen, you guys, consult with your mortgage broker, lender, before you do anything with your credit, right? Because you may be there and not know it. People think, oh, I got all this on my credit, let me pay it off. No, it may be some stuff you don't need to pay off. Do not dispute without consulting. And so, yeah, just consult about your credit before you do anything.
Because pretty much if you close your credit card, let's say it's a 20-year-old credit card, you're messing up your history, your credit history, because that's 20 years of history they have to go off of. If I cancel that card, then I may only have 3 years worth of history for them to look at. So,
and then your score also may drop.
Correct.
You know, it's funny you say that, because when I was a young man, you know, I got 3 uncles, but one of them was always kind of business minded. And when we started getting in high school, you know, Uncle Raymond, he would get us briefcases and planners and, you know, try to teach us things. And he would always tell me as a young man, he'd say, buy you some land. Buy you some land. And he would tell me, no matter what I buy, I pay for it for 6 months and then pay it off. And and that's what I did. And, and I done 18 years in prison. So I get out, that's what I learned. But things have changed. And like you say, you do not pay it off in 6 months because now you only have 6 months worth of history. So nowadays the banks are looking more for how long you can sustain, especially buying a home, which you get a 25, 30-year loan. They want to know how long can you sustain these payments. That's correct?
Well, you can pay it off. Just continue to use it. So, with credit card usage, there's 30, you don't want to go over 30% of your credit card usage. Mm-hmm. So if I'm using it to buy gas just to keep my credit going and then I pay it off, that's not going to hurt you. That's a good thing. You just don't want to pay it off and close it or allow it to close because that's when it hurts you. But if you're using your cards just, $20 here or there and then paying it off, it's not a big deal.
It's funny you say that because I have a family member that's a financial advisor, and I got out of prison. I get a credit card, and I think I had to pay like $100 at first, and after so long they'll send you $100. Go from secure to unsecured credit card, and he was telling me they're going to try to get you to get more credit cards. Don't do it. You don't need it. And I'm proud to say I have like a 720 right now because of doing exactly what you say. I just get some gas, just spend a couple dollars, and I always pay the balance off. Now, I had a problem. I had to learn this. I would pay my balance off. My credit card is due on let's say it's the 15th. Okay, I would pay my balance to zero. And then I would use the credit card maybe 3 days later. But there's something called a due date and a report date. Can you explain to my audience the difference in the due date and the report date? Because I would use it again. I'm like, well, why my credit score going? Because I was so into credit score. I said, why is it going down? I paid the bill. I did the same thing I did last month. But I would spend $20 more, and then it would report that's $20. Explain to my audience, what is that, ma'am?
So the due date is the date that the credit card say your payment is due. Mm-hmm. The report date is the date in which the credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian reported to your credit. So you were paying off before your report date. Mm-hmm. So therefore you got, it caught up. Yep.
So now what I do, I wait until the following month just to use it, to make sure that it's beyond that date. That's correct. And what is the difference in your credit score and your FICO score? You mentioned the different type of credit reports you have. Why is the FICO score more important? Or is it more important than others?
The FICO score is the most accurate score because you got the vintage score, but you have the 3 scores. How we determine your credit is you have 3 scores: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. When we pull credit, we pull all 3 of those. We put those in chronological order. Whichever score falls in the middle, that's the score we go by to determine to use up for your application. So if you have a 600, a 605, and a 610, we're going to go by that 605 score.
Why not just use the FICO score? If it's the most accurate one, why not just...
They are FICOs. They are the 3 FICO scores.
Okay. Because I noticed when you got Credit Karma, they'll show you 2 of them. But when you through your bank, it'll give you a FICO score. It'll give you 1 score. What is that more accurate than the Credit Karma?
They're all FICO scores. I know some banks give you the vintage score, but they all are FICO scores. Okay. Like Credit Karma does give FICO scores.
Okay, what exactly is a vintage score over, what's...
Honestly, the vintage score is not as reliable. It's not as up to date. Mm-hmm. So it'll be a little off than the FICO score.
Okay, and for my audience, the most important reason why you want to improve your credit score is because you receive a lower interest rate.
Yes.
And that makes a difference. You got to think when you're paying a 30-year loan, 3% makes a big difference over 30 years. That's correct.
Yes, definitely.
That's correct. Okay, and the 4th tip is get your mortgage pre-approved. Explain to us why is that so important.
Well, coming from the real estate side of it, if you come to us and you're like, I want to buy a house, we don't know where to start. Did you get qualified for $100,000, or $300,000. So you need to get pre-approved or pre-qualified so we know as realtors what to send you and where to go.
Okay, and when you get pre-approved, you just show up to different banks? Or how does that work? So you go to them and say, hey, I want to buy a home, and they'll tell you how much you are pre-approved for.
Yes.
And therefore, I would come to you, say, hey, I'm pre-approved for a $250,000 loan. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for a 3-bedroom such and such, and therefore you go from there, and that makes your job a lot easier.
Yes.
Right?
And I do want to explain, there's two different things between pre-qualified and pre-approval. So your pre-qualified is based on the information you put in the loan application. Whatever you say I make, my income, all that you put in. But when they get you pre-approved, they get your bank statements, your tax returns, verify your income, and I think it's a little bit more guaranteed. Am I right, Myron, or not really?
So how we do it is, yes. So the pre-qualify and pre-approval, like we as wholesale lenders with the Lending Village, we mostly give out like pre-approvals because we go through and give me your income, give me your W-2s, we give you your credit, we getting you everything. Mm-hmm. And then, once you find the house, then we send it to the lender to get that final approval because, it's always conditions. Okay. We need the appraisal. We need the survey. We need you to find insurance and all of that. Mm-hmm. So it definitely depends on what lender you're using that you may get a pre-qual versus a pre-approval. But at the Lending Village, we can do the thorough steps. So when we know we handle you out that pre-approval, we're going to get you through the process.
And that's nice because there's no surprises.
Yes.
Because I'll see people sometimes, like they'll add their overtime income to their pre-approval. And then I've heard in some situations where they can't use it. If you don't get it all the time, if it's not something you get consistently for a certain period of time. I've had clients that have put that on their application, got approved for a certain amount of money, and then when it was time to close, they came back and was like, wait a minute, you don't get this overtime all the time.
Yeah, but if that's your net and your gross income, I would imagine it would go by your gross income, correct?
But it changes. So if you work 20 hours overtime 1 month and then the next month you get none, they can't base your income off of that 20 hours of overtime.
Yeah, how it works is for overtime, you definitely have to have been made it at least a year. So, and then we take that year and average it with your current year to date to give an average of overtime. So that's how we put it within your application. Towards your income.
And go ahead, ma'am.
And I've also understood it too with like USDA. They look at your current income, your future income. They look in advance. So if they're approving you, it's income based. So if you have the potential of making more money, it could actually throw you out of a USDA loan. Is that how that?
Well, probably with USDA because you have to follow in certain guidelines.
Right.
With USDA is.
Okay. Now, what's the difference in a USAID loan and a regular loan or whatever?
Well,
USDA is 0% down, and you have to stay in rural areas. So there's specific areas that you can live in on a USDA loan. It's supposed to be low for low.
Obviously, your income.
Yeah, based on your income.
It's income based, basically. Basically, how you qualify for food stamps is, you have to have that low income versus your dependents.
Yeah, but if you have a low income, how could you be approved for a home? You know what I mean?
Not a low income. It's based on your income versus your dependents. So if you make $40,000 and you got 2 dependents, you will qualify for USDA.
Correct.
But if you make $100,000 with 2 dependents, you're over income now.
Okay.
Right. You have to focus on an FHA loan or a conventional loan at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my audience, can you break down the difference in an FHA loan and a USDA loan? And who applies and why?
I think that's still also going to depend on the client. So everybody, like you said, everybody is different. And that's why you go to your lender. And that's why I say be prepared so that they can tell you what's the best loan options for you. They'll lay it all out for you and say, okay, based on the information we received, these are the best options for you. And you can make a selection from there.
Okay. And so how much credit, how much work history, the minimum that you want to have going into this process?
Well, we need the last 2 years and current year-to-date work history when processing a loan application.
Okay.
So we need last 2 year W-2s.
And that's one of the do nots too. Do not leave your job when you apply for a loan. Don't switch jobs because that is a factor.
Right. And you also, it's best to shop for the best deal. And, when you when you bank with your bank, most people go to their bank. Mm-hmm. Is that a wise choice, or is it better to shop around?
It's not a wise choice. Well, it's not so much of a wise choice, because if you go to a particular bank, then that particular bank going to have their programs and their rates, so there's no wiggle room. We are what we call wholesale lenders. So I'm not like with the Bank of America or Truist or anything. We're wholesale lenders. So you come to me and I have over 100 lenders that I can send your loan to. Okay. So I virtually shop around for you based on the outcome of your application once I process it.
And when she says they have programs, so for example, FHA has a maximum debt to income ratio. Myron's company might say, well, we'll do up to 50%. Your bank might say, well, we don't want to take the risk. We might do 30%. So where you might not get qualified at your bank because their guidelines are a little tighter and stricter, you might be able to go to the lending village and get approved because their guidelines are a little broader.
Okay, that's important. Okay, so number 5 on the list, on the new homeowner buyer list, is to decide what home you want, decide what kind of home you want. And what are the major factors into this decision?
Pretty much, what are you looking for? What area do you want to be in? Or you want to be in a certain school district? Do you want to pay HOAs? Do you not want to pay HOAs?
Okay, explain what is a HOA, ma'am.
HOA is homeowner association. So if you live in a community that has amenities such as pools, trash pickup, they might have playgrounds, community centers, and things of that nature. If you want to live in an area like that, they have HOAs. Now, they also have restrictions living in HOAs. Like some of them, you're not allowed. You have to get permission to paint your house. You got to get permission to plant a fence up. You have to get everything approved before you can do it. So some people hate HOAs. Some people love them. The advantage of an HOA is it forces everybody to take care of their house. So if I go to sell my house, I'm not sitting next to somebody who got 10 cars in their yard and they all broke down. And now people coming to look at my house, but the neighbors is kind of deterring them from my house because they're like, I don't want to live next to that. So when you live in an HOA community, the nice part about it is that it makes everyone take care of their property. The negative for some people is that they have to get everything approved in advance.
When you're looking for a home, how important is it, the difference when it comes to you from the realtor as far as they in the city limits and outside of the city limits? Does it make a difference?
Well, the only difference that I will see is the city can be more stricter in a lot of ways versus the county. But other than that, it's just based off preference. Some people don't mind being within the city, living next to people, close to people. Some people want to be out in the country where they have no neighbors. So it's basically just preference.
Right.
Okay, number 6 on the list is to choose a realtor. How important is it to choose the right realtor? What are the pros and the cons from picking the wrong realtor over the right realtor? And how can a realtor help you and hurt you picking the wrong or the right choice?
Pretty much you want somebody that is knowledgeable. They don't have to have all of the answers, but they have to know where to get them from. So, I'm not a lender, so there are some questions I might run into that I may not have an answer for, but I have to have the resources to be able to answer the questions for my client. You have to be able to negotiate. Like I said, you have to know when you're going to purchase a home, if they have it overpriced, I have to know that for this area, this house is overpriced so that my client gets a fair price for the home. Having somebody that can answer your questions, that is there for you, because this process is very complicated. And so you want somebody that, doesn't have a problem explaining it to you, going over the details and working with you. So I think it's just important to have somebody that you connect with, somebody you trust, to help you in this process. Because it's not about the money for me. It's never have been. It's always about just helping families. So.
And networking is important. So it's important if you're a realtor to be able to network with other people that's in your field.
Absolutely.
That's very important to be able to have the resource to reach out to those that can help you. That's correct, right?
Absolutely.
And you two guys actually used to have a working relationship. Y'all continue to have a working relationship,
absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely. I call my own time.
Yes.
It's important. it's not competition. I feel like it's a lot of business out here for everybody. We can all make the money. We just have to, it's good to work with each other.
Okay, and number 7 on the list is to visit the home. So visit the home that you want to, you're interested in buying. Take pictures, take notes, sharp, checklist. How important is it to visit the home? And for you, Miss Wilkerson, when a client come to visit a home and you're showing them the home, what are the do's and the don'ts, ma'am?
I pretty much give my clients a copy of the MLS that pretty much outlines everything about the house. I ask them to take notes because we're going to see several houses in a day and they're not going to remember everything that they saw. So, I recommend that they take notes, look at, take pictures so that they can make a decision at the end of the day on which house is the best fit for them. As far as going to see the house, I would say definitely call your real estate agent. Don't necessarily call the sign that you see in the front yard. I think that happens a lot of times. You'll have a buyer that will see a sign, call the agent that's over it. Not that the agent can't help them, but you want an agent that works. If you want an agent that works 100% just for you,
right,
then you use your own agent.
Right, and that is important. Okay, and the number 8 on the list is to narrow your choices down. Once you visit the home, you got your credit right. You've done everything 1 through 6. You save your money. You improve your credit score. You calculate what you can afford. You get the mortgage pre-approved. You decide on the home. You visit the home. Now it's time to narrow down the choices. And what are some of the main things that you have noticed, ma'am, that is beneficial when it comes to narrowing down the choice of the home that you want to purchase, ma'am?
Just to look for the key factors. Is it in the neighborhood of the schools that you prefer? How far away is it from your job? How far is it away from your church? Is this a feasible area for your home for the next X amount of years that you're willing to live in? Those are the main factors.
Right, because you can't change location. I can add a room, I can paint, I can, landscape, I can change the floors, but you can never change your location. So if you're not comfortable with the home in the current location, don't purchase it.
And that's some of the keys when it comes to narrowing the search here. They say visit the neighborhood during the day and the night. Also to gauge the traffic. How close or far are you from the schools, the grocery store, your job? Right. All these things are very important when it comes to considering, because this is a lifetime choice, correct?
Yep.
Is it someone that you can reach out to kind of have a gauge on the future? Okay, what are the future plans for this geographic area that I'm buying in? Is there some way for them to get a heads up on that, ma'am?
I know it's always resources down at the building and zoning and planning department. There's always resources down there that you can go down. They actually have monthly meetings in Marion County. They got the different projected areas that they plan on doing the various projects with throughout the city and county.
And the number one key to choosing your home when you narrow your search down is consider the revalue sale. Consider, and all that plays into it, the area, the homes, the schools, the environment that's around you, and all of that plays into your decision. So when you buying these homes, ladies and gentlemen, make wise decisions, not just because, men, we can be influenced greatly by the wives. This one has a big kitchen, but we have to make wise decisions, on the future value of the home. One day you may sell and upgrade. That is something that's very possible. And number 9 on the list is to make an offer. So when I come to you, I want to buy this home. Of course, the seller so let me back it up. Let me ask you this. I have a home. I want to sell the home. I get in contact with who?
A realtor.
I get in contact with you. And by me contacting you, how do you place the value on my home? I tell you what I'm asking, or do you tell me the value of the home?
Well, I'm going to ask you what do you expect to sell the house for, but I'm also going to do my research. And what I'm going to look at, I'm going to do a CMA, and I'm going to look at what have recent homes that sold in the area and how much they've sold for. And I'm going to of course, compare it to your house. I'm not going to look at a house with a pool and 5 bedrooms, and if your house has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. I got to find something that's comparable to your home in your area and what they've recently sold for. And we'll use that and have a discussion and then come up to a decision on what we think is a fair price. Because you don't want to overprice your house, because your house is going to sit on the market forever, but at the same time, you don't want to underprice it either. So,
you know, I've seen something on television. I was flipping, and it was talking about, I don't know what area it was, where the person that do the appraising would come there and they will underbid certain ethnics, ethnics, homes, and overvalue others. You know what I mean?
right.
How can you prevent that? Does that exist, and how often does it do exist?
I think they've kind of, I don't think, you could tell me if I'm wrong, I think most lenders now have like a pool where it automatically generates who your appraiser is going to be like, so it's not biased. So I'm not like specifically just working with one appraiser. If I'm not mistaken, one of the lenders I've worked with in the past, she says it's like a big pool, and they pull an appraiser randomly so that it's not, so that it doesn't be, so that it's not as biased. But I have heard of that happening in several occasions.
So what would I do if let's say me and Miss Raymond is neighbors? We have, sometimes they build homes just alike, so to speak. She said her home 6 months before me. She got $500,000 for her home. 6 months later, I'm going, wow, 500. Okay, I get another appraiser, they're a whole different appraisal. You know what I mean? And I get 425. Is that set in stone, or how does that work?
No, you can always get another appraisal, and you can also call a realtor and do for us to do a CMA for you as well. But you don't have to accept that. That's just like going to the doctor. You always get a second opinion or third opinion.
You can contest it.
Yeah.
But also the market does change, so you could, now that's a drastic change, 500 to 425, but I see a lot of sellers sometimes, they'll wait a whole year. Well, my neighbor sold her house for 500. Well, that was last year. The market has changed, so it's not exactly the same. And they may have different features in their house that you didn't have. They may, so that's something to take into consideration too.
And how important is it to upgrade your home once you're into the home? And does that add significant value to your home?
It can. I just think the main thing is to take care of your home. If you're going to be a homeowner, take care of it. Take care of it. And there's always going to be maintenance. But of course, if you have carpet and I have, tile or vinyl plank flooring, I mean, it's a nicer look, and it could increase the value, I guess, by a little bit.
It could, but you also want to be mindful too, as up to the market. So you don't want to put so much money in your home, but the market only says it's worth $300, but you owe $280, but you put $50,000 into it. So you just got to be mindful of how much you want to put in it, that you're gonna get back, because the ultimate goal is to make a profit. And
I would imagine, it depends on if you plan on staying here forever. If you're not going to sell. I understand things happen throughout life, but if you're going to keep the home, you can pretty much upgrade and do as you choose.
I used to hear that like with a pool, like if somebody put a pool in their backyard, you might spend $50,000 on a pool, but when they go to do your appraisal, it may only add maybe 10. I'm not an appraiser, so don't quote me on this. They may only add $10,000-$15,000 worth of value, but you spent $50,000 on it, so you may not get back exactly what you put into it.
So basically, you're gonna do a whole lot of swimming, huh?
Make sure you want to stay there.
Okay, and number 10 on the list is to schedule a home inspection. That's important.
So after you're under contract, it's very important. So if your offer is accepted and you're under contract, you definitely want to get an inspection.
Okay, and then you make your final. Number 11 is make your final walkthrough.
Well, that's at closing. That's
right before you close.
Before you get to closing table, you're going to do a final walkthrough and just make sure everything is the way you saw it when you first bought it. And just to piggyback on that inspection, the inspection is the buyer's responsibility in most cases. They have to pay for that inspection to be done. And what that inspector is doing is pretty much just making sure that there are no major issues with the house. They'll look at the AC, plumbing, roof, other things, and just electrical the appliances, and just make sure you're buying a sound house.
That's good. Okay. So let me ask you, ladies, what is the single, Miss Raymond, who was the single most influential person throughout your lifetime, ma'am?
The single most influential person throughout my lifetime was, of course, my grandfather. He taught me a lot of things about business. He taught me a lot of things about people. He just taught me a lot of things. He was a very wise man.
So if you had to sum Granddad up in one word, what would it be?
Amazing.
Amazing. Amen to
Amazing.
that. Amen to that. Okay, Miss Wilkerson. No more running, no more ducking, no more hiding. What are the single most important lessons you've learned in life to help you become the woman that you are today, ma'am?
Oh God, so many. Trust God. Trust Him in everything you do. Don't do anything without His guidance. You know, every time I take a client, every time I do a new business venture, I want to make sure that it's stamped with God's approval.
So you are a spiritual woman, right, ma'am?
Definitely, most definitely.
And how do you believe that your faith have helped you become a better realtor?
Absolutely. I just feel like, you know, my belief, even when things are slow, me believing and trusting God, it like He sends clients. I don't have to pump and prime. You know, I'm blessed. I get referrals from people, and it's a big thing how you treat people. It comes back to you. And so,
you know, my favorite scripture in the entire Bible is Romans chapter 8, verse 31. It says, God is for you, who could be against you?
Absolutely.
And, you know, with that being said, you know, when you're a realtor, if you don't sell a home, you don't get no commission.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you could be going out chasing, like she say, you know, you climbing, but if you don't sell that home, no money coming home. Mm-hmm. You know, it's important to have faith and believe in yourself, audience. Believe in who you are and the things that you can achieve. And let no one tell you any different. You know, it's nothing wrong with a 9-to-5. Lord knows I wish I could go and get one. But you know, when you're able to work for yourself, basically you are your own everything. And you have to believe totally in yourself to be successful in this industry. How do you ladies think about that? What do you got?
I wholeheartedly agree 100%. That is definitely a mindset. You got to have confidence. Your confidence got to be at 100%, while your doubt level is at 0%, because there are going to be trials and tribulations. There are going to be things that come up, and with the help of God leading and guiding, you just got to persevere. It's not going to be easy, but it's worth it.
And I don't think nothing good is easy. Everything comes with work. And I just hate people to say, I can't do this. I can't buy a house. I can never be a homeowner. Yes, you can. It might mean it takes some sacrifice, that you might not be able to go like you used to. You might not be able to spend like you used to. But if you have your mindset that I want to be a homeowner, then, okay, what do I need to do? And you start working on doing it. It may take you a year. It may take you 2 years. It may take you, longer. But the point is, start working on it. Stop saying what you can't do and start working on it.
You know, words are very powerful. You know, you have to speak things into existence. Yes. You know, that's the very thing that Jesus talked about, faith. Mm-hmm. You know, just believing that it, you know, some people, I often talk about an 8 ounce glass with 4 ounces of water. Some people say, oh, it's half empty. Some people say it's half full. Mm-hmm. Now, me, I could determine a lot about that individual by whether they say that glass is half full or half empty. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You have people that constantly thinks positive. Their every thought is positive, and that's why it is so important to believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. So, Ms. Raymond, what is your most proudest moment in life?
Oh, wow. I have so many. The most proudest moment in one of the most proudest moments in my life is when I became a mother to my son. He is phenomenal. And of course, the second proudest moment in my life is when I met my husband.
Amen to that. Shout out to the husband.
Hey, baby.
You know, Miss Johnson, I'm sorry. Why I keep calling you Miss Johnson?
No.
Miss Wilkerson, how would you like to be remembered, ma'am?
How would I like to be remembered? Trustworthy.
Amen.
Honorable.
And how important is integrity in this field?
Very.
Very.
It's key.
And you must, I would imagine, you know some very personal things about your clients. It is very important to not be a talking head, to learn to mind your mouth and, and be very, very professional.
Absolutely.
I would imagine.
Absolutely.
That
It's
is
confidential.
correct.
I mean, we're not lawyers or anything, but it's still just as important that, if a person comes to you and trusts you with information, that you keep that to yourself.
Let me ask you ladies a question. When y'all hear the term boss chick, what's the first thing come to mind?
For me, one that's walking with God, her head up. God, I call it Godfidence. Godfidence. That you have confidence in God, you have confidence in yourself, and you're not taking no for an answer.
All right, that's great. What about you, Miss Raymond?
I agree. It's someone, who just make the impossible possible. Just make it happen. Steadfast in God, because you can't lead in God if you don't have God leading and guiding you. So that's first and foremost. And just go out there and make it happen. Just be that role model. When you think it, you say it, you speak it. Next thing you know, somebody see you got it done. They're like, wow. So it's just being that example.
Okay. Miss Wilkerson, when you was growing up, what was your nickname?
Turkey.
Turkey. Oh, God. So you coming up, we might find you on a couple plates this next month, huh? 2 months.
Yeah. Turkey. I have so many, but Turkey was one when I was younger, and Kiki and Keisha.
Okay, so pronounce your name, your first name.
Turkessa.
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 Yep, that's it.
Okay, so I always call you Keisha. We'll go Keisha there.
Yeah, it's easier.
Little Turk. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's easier.
All right, Miss Raymond, what was your nickname growing up?
Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, my nickname growing up was Pooh Nanny.
Okay.
That's because my grandfather called me Pooh and my mama called me Nanny. So they would just put it together.
It's funny how your grandmother was the grandmother, but she'll call you Nanny. My mom called my first daughter Mom.
Mm-hmm.
It screams how that goes like that, Okay, Miss Wilkerson, if you could have dinner with anybody in the world, who would it be?
Anybody in the world?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. I don't know.
How about Jesus?
Well, he ain't in the world.
I can't tell if he ain't in the world. He ain't of this world, but he in the world.
No, but he's like, you sound like you was saying like a being. You know what I mean?
Well, that's who that is, you mean?
Well, yeah.
So you can't think of one person in this world. You say, I would love to sit down and have dinner with them.
No.
Okay. In a way, that answer shows that there's no respect of person. Nobody's more important than other.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what? He's the president. He still got to take his shirt off and pull his pants down like me.
Right.
That's exactly how I was thinking.
So what? Obama was the first, well, he wasn't the first.
Right.
But considered the first black president. So what? I mean,
right.
He could blow his nose like I blow my nose or whatever else the situation. You know what I mean?
For me, I'd rather have dinner with my family. You know what I mean?
Amen.
There's nobody else that I could think of.
I agree.
Amen.
100%.
Okay, so do you ladies have children?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Okay.
have 2.
You have 2 children?
A boy and a girl, Trey and Jalen.
A boy and a girl. You always wanted a boy and a girl?
I did.
The boys first?
Yep. Boy's the oldest, 24. My daughter will be 20 this year.
I always wanted, the son and the daughter. I wanted the son first so he could protect the sister.
That's how I thought about it.
The son is the last one. I got 3 kids, son the last one. What about you, Miss Raymond?
Yes, together we have 4, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Do you believe that there's such thing as a favorite child?
No, because all of them have their own different things that they bring to the table. So they're all favorites in a particular way.
My grandma used to say, my favorite is whoever I'm talking to at this time. You know?
That's right. That's right. That's a wise
Whoever I'm talking to is my favorite.
That's a wise woman. So let me ask you, ladies, when you ladies were growing up, what was your favorite cartoon?
Rainbow Bright.
Rainbow Bright? What is that?
You know who Rainbow Bright is.
Oh, the Care Bears?
No, Rainbow Bright. She was a little cartoon character. She had like the little bonnet on her head. And you remember red hair?
I remember Rainbow Bright.
No, me and Mr. Raymond don't remember no Rainbow Bright.
I might be too young for y'all. I might be too young.
All right, what about you, Miss Raymond?
Probably He-Man.
That's what I'm talking about. About the power of Grayskull. He-Man. That's what I'm talking about.
I would have to go with She-Ra.
Yeah, He-Man. You know what? You might actually be the second person out of all my interviews, screen interviews and all, that said He-Man. One person said Thundercat. How can they not remember He-Man and Thundercat? I don't know. Okay. This is a portion of the podcast. We have an episode called Fill in the Blank. I'm asking you ladies questions. Fill in the blank. Answer them quickly, precisely, and honestly. Okay? Okay, we're going to ask the question. You answer Miss Wilkerson, and then you answer Miss Raymond. Okay? I'm going left to right.
Okay.
I've always wanted to
invest in a home.
Travel a lot more.
I love when someone
compliments me.
I love when someone, I don't know, because I'm always the giver.
Right.
So, I love when I can help someone.
Okay. If I had to do it all over again, I would.
Yes, definitely do it all. You mean like life?
If I had to do it all over again, I would.
Marry my husband all over again.
Amen. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Willie Wilkerson. Okay.
I would definitely turn my last 10 years into my earlier years.
My favorite holiday is?
Christmas.
Okay. It aggravates me when someone
lies.
Nice. Absolutely.
Right.
The best quality someone could have is?
To be honorable.
And a kind heart.
If I was God, the first thing I would change is?
So many things. I would just say, I don't know if you can even change people's hearts.
That's exactly what I say. I would change the hearts of people.
Yeah.
It's so evil these days. I would change the hearts of people.
Okay, amen to that.
And I don't think that's something he want to do. Like, you have to do it on your own. That's it.
It was free will. I wouldn't be a free will giving God.
Yeah. You make him do it.
I make him do it.
Do what I say. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, my movie star crush was?
I know this. Morris Chestnut. I shouldn't even think about that.
Child, boo, Disney and Washington. Hello.
Girl, no. Morris.
I'll tell you what. If I could travel anywhere in the world, it would be?
I guess I'm still exploring. I want to go everywhere, honestly. But I guess Jamaica, Puerto Rico. I want to go everywhere.
Africa.
Africa. That's on the list.
My favorite movie is?
Love and Basketball.
That was a good one.
It was.
Yeah. I don't have a favorite. Oh, Waiting to Exhale.
Waiting to Exhale.
Yes. Waiting to Exhale.
Which one of them you relate more to on Waiting to Exhale?
Bernadine.
Bernadine. That's the one with the son, right?
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
Okay. If I could go back to any age, it would be?
21.
Yep. in early 20s, definitely I would have got this party started early.
Would have been a real boss.
Yeah, I know, right? Y'all a real boss.
Jesus is
My everything.
My everything.
when I meet someone, the first thing I notice is
Their smile.
Would you stop stealing my
I
answers?
just do.
Yeah, their smile.
It's contagious. Yeah.
okay. If I could ask God one question, it would be,
I don't know.
I would ask him, Lord, am I doing it right? Am I lined up with your will?
That's a good one.
Am I on the straight and narrow?
I'll probably ask them what the lottery number's gonna be. I ain't gonna lie. That's probably what I ask.
you gonna still sell houses?
Yeah, I'm gonna invest in my community. Listen, we gonna build up the community. We're gonna have multi-family homes, all of that. Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about this faith and stuff. So if you get these numbers, do I get a home?
I got you.
You got me.
I got you.
All right.
I
All
got
right
you.
now.
Go ahead, Jesus.
Okay.
Do it,
Okay,
Jesus.
do it, Jesus. Okay, cat or dog?
Dog.
Dog.
Elmer Fudd or Yosemite Sam?
Elmer
A
Fudd.
fudge.
He-Man or Thundercat?
He-Man.
Bugs Bunny or the Pink Panther?
Pink Panther.
Bugs Bunny.
The Pink Panther.
SpongeBob or Blue's Clues?
SpongeBob.
Superman or Batman?
Superman.
Superman.
Okay. Martin or the Fresh Prince?
Martin.
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 Good Times or What's Happening?
Good times.
Big Bang Theory or That 70s Show?
Who?
Neither one.
I don't know.
The Cosby Show or The House of Pain?
Cosby Show.
Yeah, the Cosby Show.
The Jefferson or Fred Sanford?
Fred Sanford.
Waiting to Excel or Soul Food?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I'm gonna go with Soul Food.
I would lean more towards Soul Food.
Yeah.
That was
both good ones
Yeah.
though.
Set It Off or New Jack City?
Set it on.
I'm tired.
You tired with both of them?
Yeah. I
Okay.
know Nino Brown was a bad man now.
The Five Heartbeats or Dream Girls?
5 Heartbeats.
Yeah. 5 Heartbeats.
Nutty Professor or Big Mama's House?
Nutty Professor.
Big Mama's House.
Love and Basketball or Poetic Justice?
Loving basketball.
Poetic Justice was good too. Poetic Justice.
Barbershop or Drumline?
Drumline.
Barbershop.
Bad Boys or Girls Trip?
Girls Trip.
Bad Boys.
Power or Empire?
I've never watched Power, so I'm gonna have to say Empire.
Well, Empire up to the first season. After that, it got crazy. We're going to leave it alone.
Now, Cookie was a bad girl now.
In the beginning, then they went left.
Yeah.
They went left.
Okay, Friday or Friday After Next?
Friday.
Chris Tucker or Day Day?
Chris, yeah.
Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy for me.
Okay, this is the last segment. This is called AMA, where each of you ladies, Miss Wilkerson and Miss Raymond, get to ask me anything.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see myself in 10 years. Me podcasting is something that was told to me to do. God gave me this to do this. This is not my decision. Okay. And to me, I'm strictly being obedient. You know what I mean? But he placed this love in my heart, and I try to spread this love. And me myself going to prison because I didn't know how to communicate my frustration and my anger. Mm-hmm. So therefore, I try to educate the younger people and likewise the older people how to communicate. Right. And I plan on, I need some more support. We're going to donate to Talk Love and Communication. PayPal, Robinson74William@gmail.com. Cash App, Anybody Love You with a U. Zelle, 352-209-3306. With more support, I plan on doing short films, like clips of everyday life situations. And once I film that, my audience could sit down with me and they would be able to see that, encounter that experience. So we would discuss, okay, who's right, who's wrong? What would you have done in this situation? So you may say something, Ms. Raymond, to affect my life forever. I may never look at that from your point of view until you say that. I had a friend say, common sense ain't all that common. He says mom would tell him. See, what's common sense to you through your trials and tribulations is not common sense to me because I have not been through those things. And we as a community, when we discuss things, we may discuss a scenario last month on the podcast, and all of a sudden now you're faced with that situation. Now it's almost like you having a second chance to think about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you may not just act impulsively and just act out in anger like I did and cost me 18 years of my life. You understand what I'm saying? So that's one part of it. And I also want to reach out to inmates in prison so they can call me and I can record their conversation and play it back for the youth and have them to be reunited with their families and things of that nature. It's so many things. I want to do an ESPN thing for the Marion County school system, for the sports, to encourage the young men not to be in the streets. Go play basketball, go play football, these things and reward them for that, and hopefully this will go to, sky's the limit. Maybe I have my own show one day. And after you hit the numbers, when I get the big house, I'm going to have a studio inside the house. We'll do it,
Good.
Okay. Any questions, Miss Raymond?
No questions.
No questions? You have any more questions, Miss Johnson? Miss Wilkerson?
I don't know who Miss Johnson is.
I don't know.
No.
I think you answered everything. Right?
So I tell you what, now, Ms. Wilkerson, you go first. I want you to look into this camera over my shoulder here, and I want you to give my audience any last words that you may have for young, inspired realtors moving forward, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Turkessa Wilkerson. I'm with Fontana Realty. You can reach me by phone, 352-304-4538, on Facebook at The Dreamcatcher 352, or by email, turkessa.wilkerson99@gmail.com. Any last words for a up-and-coming realtor is just do it. Just do it. You can do it. Believe in yourself, and work hard.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Miss Raymond, I would like for you to look into the camera and give my audience any last words, ma'am. Give them your contact information, so forth. How can they reach you, ma'am?
Yes, just let everybody know that your dreams can become a reality. And you need any help or any consultation, you can reach out to Myron Scott-Raymond at OBA Realty and Mortgage Group, powered by the Lending Village. Phone 352-537-4429. Or I'm on Facebook with simply my name, Myron Scott-Raymond. Or you can email me at office@obamortgagegroup.com.
Okay, so I want to thank you all, ladies, and I want my audience to give y'all a special round of applause.
Thanks for having us.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host once again, William Robinson, coming at you live from the studios of TLC, Talk Love and Communication. I believe that all problems, circumstances, situations can be resolved through the proper channels of love and communication. Once again, we thank my lovely guests, Turkessa Wilkerson and Myron Scott-Raymond. Okay, you can donate to this podcast. It has been influential to you at Cash App, Anybody Love You, PayPal, Robinson74William@gmail.com. Don't forget, if no one told you they love you today, William Robinson loves you.